We're back, people, and today we're breaking down film on Tua's return versus the Steelers. A very inconsistent, up and down type of day for Tua. Probably his worst game of the season overall, but it was definitely not as bad as people made it seem on Twitter. People were freaking out, calling him a terrible, terrible quarterback. It really wasn't that bad. After going through the film, he played pretty solid all throughout the first half. He made a few mistakes. People will talk about the 4 dropped interceptions. Half of them were not on him. And overall, the receivers, tight ends, lots of drops, lots of miscommunications, and the play calling got really conservative in the second half. Also, got to give credit to the Steelers defense. They made good adjustments, but Tua made the right plays early on. Like, they could have easily started up 21-0, and I don't think any of those mistakes were really on Tua when they didn't finish those drives. He didn't really make a mistake in the first half until that first dropped interception. So let's get right into this one. 2nd and 19, Dolphins get their first big play of the game after a penalty, attack for loss on the screen. Just really good job processing from Tua, makes very quick decisions. That's one thing that was really good in this game. He was making quick, decisive decisions over the middle of the field, and his processing was really good throughout the game. Most of his mistakes came on, just poorly thrown passes, and those came in the second half when it was raining, and Tua's just not a good player in the rain. We'll watch this a little more slowly. They do the really good setup here. I love the motioning into the wheel. Gets the corner to widen, and he's just reading this defender, and he's feeling the blitz to this, so he knows he's hot. And then he has this linebacker to the inside leverage, so he puts this on Waddle's back shoulder, and good job by Waddle slowing down, adjusting to this, and it allows him to pick his momentum back upfield, because he tries to throw this to the inside. It could get knocked down from the linebackers down low, so he just wants to be safe, and then gives Waddle the opportunity for yards after catch. So good placement based on the positioning of the linebackers, and really good job reading this quickly, getting the ball out of his hands, just a quick release, the whole process in the backfield. Really, really good play from Tua to start this game. He was killing it. I know people were like, after the first 3 drives, he sucked. I really think the whole first half, he was pretty dang good, except for the 1 dropped pick in the first half. But other than that, pretty good. The concept the Dolphins liked to do in this game was getting their running back out in the slot, faking the jet sweep, allowing Tua to read the middle of the field while in play action. So this can draw the linebackers down. Love this concept, and he's just reading so quickly. Sees that this linebacker is sort of flat-footed, coming down a little bit, throws with anticipation, gets this ball out as Gesicki's even with the linebacker. Also, safeties are too deep, so he wants to attack the middle of the field. Good timing, hits Gesicki right in stride. Really good ball placement, good read, everything. Just, he was clicking early. So I'm not too worried about the offense overall. I just think there was a few mistakes from pretty much top to bottom when it came to O-line, quarterback, receivers, and the play calling. It wasn't just one person specifically, so as long as they can clean up those tiny little mistakes, get more on the same page, I'm not worried about the Dolphins offense. This is the play right before the touchdown. Should have been another touchdown. Really good job by Tua. Look at the eye manipulation right here. He just really sells things. He's so good. He is in a throwing position. His whole body is selling the throw. He holds Minka with his eyes and then wants to hit the quick glance to Gesicki. Hits him right in the face mask. This probably should have been PI because Gesicki's right arm did get pulled down, so he could not get his hand on the ball. So wouldn't really blame Gesicki for a drop here. I think this was defensive pass interference that just wasn't called because it was pretty bang at the spot, but he pulls his arm down right before Gesicki touches the ball and it hits him right in the face mask. So love the ball placement, love the decisiveness. Tua knows where he's going with this ball. He knows he's not going to this side of the field. The Steelers have 3 to this side, and the middle of the field safety is cheating here, and he moves Minka off his spot and hits it right there. It would have been a really good play, but he makes up for it on the next one, getting another touchdown. One or two of his better traits is his feel in the pocket, really good pocket awareness. Good job stepping up, knowing where your flat option is. He knows where his check down is going to be, and he gets the touchdown to Raheem Mostert. Feels this pressure. Steelers playing in a basically quarters in the red zone version of quarters match. Nothing really open on the back end, nothing on his reads. Everything's dead, so he steps up in the pocket, creates on his own, get off script, because this is really nice because everything that we saw earlier on this first drive was all a scripted thing. He was very good on time, but not everything is always going to work like that, so see him create off script, knows where his check down is, get it to Mostert, and Mostert has got to be the full-time starter. Like, I'll show some of Chase Edmonds' bad plays, and Gaskin has to be the number 2 now. After that Jets game, I think Gaskin showed that he's a capable number 2 in this offense. He looked better than Edmonds has all season. And one thing Gaskins can bring to the table is a pass catching ability. We know he's a solid pass catcher out of the backfield. and Edmonds has just had so many errors in that area. Dolphins back to the jet sweep, play action, really good read again, hitting the slant over the middle of the field. Look at the timing, like this to Waddle was open versus zone, pretty much any zone. Like if either was right here, they're running cover 3, they're buzzing right here. Minka's the buzz defender, and Tua was just making these reads the whole time. I really like this because it allows Tua to keep his eyes downfield while working the play action, and he's just reading this linebacker right here, and he manipulates him with his eyes, gets him to move off his spot, and then throws it with such anticipation right into the middle of the triangle of defenders. So, I mean, Tua came out hot. Like, I know the way people talked about it on Twitter, I was expecting to see a lot of really bad plays from Tua. There was probably like 4 or 5 that were like really bad, but the rest of the game was pretty dang good. Hits Waddle right in the chest, allows for some yards after catch. So the processing, knowing where to go with the ball, like off pre-snap, he knew where he was going to go with the ball a lot off of pre-snap just based on their defense, and then he would confirm post-snap based on the coverages, and he just did a really good job, especially in these first few drives. Same drive, Dolphins had a few big runs to get down here, some dink and dunk. This one's the 3rd and 4 incompletion. I mean, Tua goes to the correct spot. Nothing else is open across the board. He's throwing the angle route to Mostert. This is just a really good play by Minkah Fitzpatrick to get this ball dislodged. I mean, ball placement is perfect for Mostert right into the chest, away from this defender, but Fitzpatrick makes the hit and dislodges the ball, so not really on Mostert either. Would obviously love to see him hang on to it, but just a really good play from the Steelers defense. Obviously, they have to kick a field goal after this, but I would not blame Tua for them not getting the field goal on this drive because he did his job, threw a perfect ball, could easily, been 1st and goal at the 1-yard line. They probably get a touchdown after that, and then they're up 14-0, and then they go into the 3rd drive where they probably should have scored another touchdown, but up 21-0, and the whole narrative of the game would have been different. Another positive play from Tua. I know it's been mostly positive so far. I'll definitely get to the negative ones, but we're just not there yet because he looked really good early on. Most of the negative plays came later in the game, and we'll definitely showcase those to show what people are talking about. But another good job, Tua coming out, this time getting to drop a little bit, not just sort of 0 to 1 step drops throwing over the middle of the field. This one could have been a bigger play, but him and Waddle were on the same page. This is my only thing with this. Coming over the middle, getting Waddle over the middle of the field, attacking cover 2. They're in cover 2 here. Attack this middle of the field. Tua just sees this defender out of the corner of his eyes and wants to sort of have, and Waddle is also slowing down his route too. So him and Waddle are on the same page to slow this down in the middle of the zone. And this is what they're taught, in a zone coverage. Once you get away from your defender, sort of slow it down when you see a guy out in front of you like this. But based on his positioning, him being a little more up, I think, Tua could have placed this over here. But with Waddle slowing down, if he did throw it over here, it probably would have been an incompletion. Also throws it a little high. Also, insane acrobatic body control catch from Waddle there. You can see the explosiveness on this play. This is like the one play where people are like, ooh, bad ball placement by Tua. But just based on what he's reading, he thinks he should sit this down in the zone. He's just not seeing this huge space over here. Waddle's also slowing down too. So they were on the same page. The chemistry was there. But just maybe next time, if they're on the same page, get it out more in the open if they see all that space together. So maybe a slightly missed opportunity there. But at the end of the day, it's still a nice 18-yard chunk play. Okay, so this is the first dropped interception. Not one that I would really blame Tua on because it does go off Tyreek Hill's hand. He does put this out a little bit in front of him, but I think this is more of a miscommunication than inaccuracy because Tua sees the middle of the field safety, but he thinks he's deep enough to where he can put this out in front of Tyreek, and Hill kind of doesn't get out of his break super fast. He kind of slows this down, thinking it's going to be put on his chest, his back shoulder type of area, just to pick up the first down, and Tua thinks he's going to keep going. Probably a misread on Tua's part, but I wouldn't really blame, the dropped pick being on him. It was just more of a miscommunication. The ball still goes off your receiver hand, so not one that I would count as a dropped interception, and I don't think stats will, like the advanced stats, different types of team like PFF, SIS, PFR, I don't think those will count that as a dropped interception against Tua. That's not really a negative stat. Obviously, it could have been a big play for the Steelers defense. They could have got the interception, but Dolphins offense definitely left a lot of opportunities on the board to score a lot more too. The next play, it's 3rd and 10, cover 1. He's trying to hit just a quick little over route to Gesicki right at the sticks. Gesicki ends up dropping it. This is perfect ball placement too, especially against like cover 1 robber. And Minka's one of the best robbing safeties in the league. He does a great job reading QB's eyes. And Tua even sees him, but just throws this on the back shoulder of Gesicki. This probably would have been short by half a yard, but they could have gone for this. Just another big drop in a big situation. The ball placement doesn't really get any better than this. Tua's just going to his first read. He thinks he has it right at the sticks. He sees Fitzpatrick. You can see he sort of like peeks at him right here coming down. So he adjusts that and throws a perfect placement away from the safety. Gesicki just can't hang on. It is a tough catch and probably would have been short. And I think the Dolphins would have gone for it. I don't know whether they would have gotten it because I don't think they're a very good third and fourth and short type of team. I don't think they have the running backs for that. Tua is not really a QB sneak type of quarterback, and the O-line isn't the best either. So I don't know if they would have gotten it, but another drive that was sort of killed by some just miscommunication on the dropped interception, and then Gesicki having a drop on 3rd and 10. I don't think McDaniel called the best game in the second half. I really think in the first half, his use of motion was so good. Definitely the play calling too. I love getting Mostert out in the slot, working him on these motions because his speed is a threat. And then, you get like Tyreek Hill in the backfield. Definitely want to see Gaskin as the RB2 next time as well because Edmonds, as I've been saying, not great. But using this motion to widen this guy, and once Tua sees him widen to the flat with Mostert, he knows he's throwing the quick out. Nice in timing, everything, the anticipation right out of the break. Sherfield had a good game as well. Solid. He's turning into a solid number 3 for the team. Just a pretty reliable guy in the slot, working the middle of the field. Definitely a guy that's been nice to see progress. Obviously want more out of Cedric Wilson. I also like what Craycraft has done too. But good, quick read from Tua. Knows based on the linebacker's positioning pre-snap that he's not going to be able to get out there to the out. So all he has to do is read this corner in the flat, sees him take away Mostert, and then get the ball at time. So good play call, good timing, good pretty much everything from across the board from all the players and the coaches. That last play, this is the start of the 4th drive. I know after this people just said Tua didn't look good after the 3rd drive. Coming out of play action right here, this cover 1, this is a huge play potentially, possibly even a touchdown if Tyreek Hill doesn't slow down. This is on Tyreek Hill. This is cover 1 man. They're running these in breakers all game, and his first read out of this break is Tyreek. Also, if he wasn't his first read, Waddle was coming wide open over the middle of the field, and he could have had a touchdown to Waddle as well, but Tyreek was the first read, and Tyreek was open, so this is not a misread by Tua. Just coming straight out of this, Tyreek Hill slows down. You only slow down if this is zone. This is not zone. This is man-to-man. He starts to slow down over the middle of the field and just leads him just a little too much, which is not in Tua. This is a perfectly placed ball by Tua. This is on Tyreek slowing down. If Tyreek doesn't slow down, he catches this right in the chest, in stride. And if he doesn't get tackled immediately by the corner, because I think if he kept his speed through the route, he wouldn't have. And then it would have been a one-on-one with Fitzpatrick out in all this space. And just really, really unfortunate because that sort of play kind of kills your drives. You miss on big play opportunities. A lot of big play opportunities were missed in this game. Some were on Tua, definitely the ones I'll show later, but some were on plays like this. Tyreek just reading the coverages wrong, slowing down his route. And obviously, if Tyreek wasn't open, they could have gotten that second read to Waddle, and that was... he blew his guy off the ball here. Definitely, they try to press Waddle down here, and he just gets down. Just look at the speed and explosiveness from Waddle. Big play opportunity missed all around the board there from just a tough one to see right there. The big play right after the Tyreek Hill miscommunication. You get Edmonds out in the flat. He wins on the whip route here. Really good call. And he just drops it. Good ball placement by Tua. Good read. This is like they have, the 4 bunch over here. 4x1 set. And you get this call. You get 41 to overcommit to the inside. Based on his leverage, you get the whip route. It's open. Edmonds even slows down a little bit too, so he doesn't catch this in stride. Just everything bad there. So many missed opportunities. Not all on Tua. Those ones will come later because those were all later in the game, and I'm just going chronologically of how it happened. But this big one, big drop by Edmonds, as you've seen so far, we're pretty, we're already 30 plays into the game. Offense only had 65 snaps, and Tua's only really made 1 mistake so far. So that hate that Tua was getting, I think, was a little overdone last night. Still, his probably worst game of the season, which is big because the Dolphins still won. So I'm not trying to excuse him. People will say excuses, but overall, these are just the reasons of what happened. This is exactly what happened. I'm just showing what happened on the film. And overall, not as bad as everyone made it out to seem. This is the first play of the next drive right after that. So the next drive after this, Another great play from Tua after the first 3 drives. They attack cover 2 over the middle of the field. Tua does a good job with his eyes here, looking to this side, knows this is dead. 4 Steeler defenders over 3. He knows he can attack with the seam bender over the middle of the field. He sees this safety, knows he has middle of the field open. Great job by Sherfield too, adjusting his route to the inside. Nice side adjustment, and just great ball placement from Tua. Tight window throw, tight ball. Put some nice spin on this too. Really good ball placement, accuracy overall. Sherfield continuing making plays. He's the guy that's been making plays in contested coverages because Waddle and Hill are more open when they're making their plays, but nice to see a receiver making a nice catch in contested areas. This is right before half. The Dolphins, trying to drive down the field, get some points before half is over. Really nice pick play setup here. Verse cover 1. Tyreek Hill gets open on the wheel route. Nice play call, nice setup, nice design, nice execution from everybody. Tua probably could have let him a little bit more here. Definitely not his best throw, ball placement-wise. I don't think he throws... This is probably where he's most uncomfortable, is probably throwing it to the field side to the right, when he has to throw the field side to the right and throw with touch to a little bit deeper down the sideline. Probably when he underthrows it the most. But just still, your receiver's open enough. You get him this. I don't think he wanted to lead him too much based on the safety too. But overall, you get the completion, and then the next play is where probably his worst throw of the game. This dropped interception was definitely on Tua. I understood why he threw it. He was trying to get this over the top, sort of throw it on the back shoulder. But you can see, look at him right here. He's just holding the middle of the field safety. Sees that it's middle of the field open, too deep. So he's thinking that this flat corner is not going to carry this wheel route enough. And he's not even looking at it. He already knows he's going with here to the ball here. And just based on what he was seeing pre-snap and post-snap, he didn't think that the corner would carry. And he just doesn't put enough on it either. He tries to throw this with touch over the top, and it sort of just goes short on him. So he just made a pre-snap decision that this is where he was going with the ball. And when you're in under 2 minutes, you don't have a lot of timeouts. You're trying to get the ball down the field. This type of thing. This is the type of thing that quarterbacks do. They try to make a pre-snap decision because they don't want to get sacked, know where they're going with the ball, and then he just makes a poor decision. This one should have been picked. This dropped interception was definitely on Tua. This was probably his worst throw, worst decision of the day overall. So yeah, definitely one that you can say was on Tua. He usually has 1 or 2 plays like this every game. But just based on what I've been seeing throughout the league, compared to other quarterbacks, they're making even more decisions like this, getting away with dropped interceptions as well. So I just hope people keep that same energy with all the other quarterbacks that they keep with Tua. Now they're in the second half, 3rd and 2. One of the only times they really threw the slant to Waddle again over the middle of the field. I don't know why they went away from this. It was so deadly. Tua and Waddle being on the same page, slowing down in the soft spot of the zone, just reading the flat defenders here. He's reading right here, this curl flat guy, and he sees him freeze just enough, slow his feet down. Tua's just holding him, waiting for Waddle to come into this zone, sort of this box of defenders. He moves him. Look how he moves this defender. The eye manipulation is so good. Everything, and then hits Waddle right over they slow down in the soft spot of the zone again. This works. Every time the Dolphins face zone, they should be having someone that works over the middle of the field. Look at Tua with his eyes. He's looking to the left of this defender. Gives it just enough. He does a little subtleness with the ball there to get this guy to move. This is where he's so good. His ball fake ability, his manipulation of the second level is really, really elite, honestly. And then throws a nice ball to Waddle. Dolphins just went away from this later in the game. I think the biggest problem was they kept trying to run the ball on 1st and 2nd down, and then they would go for 1 pass on 3rd down. It was just limiting opportunities for big plays. I just think they should have kept passing the ball all game because the running game did not work at all in the second half. This play was really a lot of just Raheem Mostert making plays, like seeing the contested catch and breaking a tackle afterwards, picking up yards after catch. Mostert is definitely this team's RB1, but just got to give Tua some credit to make a tight window throw. Putting this ball where a DB on Mostert has no chance to make a play at the catch point. This is perfectly placed, leads Mostert out in front, and Mostert does a really good job hands catching, still fighting through contact, making another man miss. Just Mostert was excellent in this game, very excellent all around. So yeah, like getting the ball into Mostert's hands. He's just probably the 3rd best weapon after Hill and Waddle on this team. And just another pretty solid play from Tua. They should have scored on this drive. This is the drive with the 2 the 2 rushes to Edmonds on 3rd and 4th down. They should have at least scored a field goal. They took the ball out of Tua's hands, another area where I don't think Tua, if they were going to go for it, they should have let Tua throw the ball twice. So yeah, another drive where I would not blame Tua at all. That one was on the coaching staff. This is still that same drive. This is the play, 2nd and 7, right before the 2 Edmonds rushes. And this is a pretty good play from Tua because this is one of the only times where they come out of the play action right here. Play action, and the in-breaker is just not open to either side. The spacing, Minka just has both routes kind of taken away. He can really break on both of them. So Tua makes a good decision not to throw this. Feels the pressure as well. Sees that Gesicki is coming, not like open, but is open enough to get this ball to. And he makes a good throw, off balance, off position. Puts enough spin on this. This is a pretty dangerous. He kind of throws this across his body. But good ball placement just to pick up 4 yards on a play where nothing was open. And you could have easily taken a sack. So Tua did a good job at not taking any hits in the backfield. I mean, he took 2 hits trying to run people over, which obviously he shouldn't be trying to do. But he did a good job getting the ball out, not getting sacked, taking big negative losses. So that was a good thing. And just getting the ball out to your checkdowns on time. And then, yeah, the 2 plays after this are the 2 Edmond runs. I'm not going to show them because I'm just doing Tua's film today. But just don't understand the play calling at all there. I watched it, and it just never made sense. Took the ball out of Tua's hands, and up to this point of the game, Tua had made probably like 2-3 mistakes. One that was really bad, the other 2 that were on him, plus receivers. So, I mean, at this point, the offense was running through Tua on those big passes over the middle of the field, and I just don't understand taking the ball out of his hands there. 2nd and 11, another play. Okay, 3, 2, 1. 2nd and 11 after another 1st and 10, 1-yard rush loss. This is the next dropped interception. I guess this is the 3rd one. The Steelers are in cover 6, so Tua makes the correct read on this to see this middle of the field open, and he's trying to throw the seam bender to Gesicki, and Gesicki needs to, because Gesicki's running the seam, and Gesicki reads this safety getting out of the middle of the field. You read middle of the field open, he's got to bend this to the middle of the field, and the reason he doesn't is he's getting held right here. I watched this in the broadcast view too, and he's definitely getting held. He gets his shoulder turned right here. You can see that he's not able to bend to the middle of the field. So this messes up the timing, which leads to the 3rd interception. So this is either a hold or more on Gesicki than Tua, because Tua makes the right read to throw this versus cover 6 to the middle of the field. Maybe the ball would have been still slightly overthrown if Gesicki didn't get held, because I think if he doesn't get held, Gesicki definitely has a better chance to make a play on this ball, and his angle would have been more to the inside. Gesicki has a big catch radius. So overall, this interception maybe slightly on Tua, but I still think this was more of a hold on the defense. He's got to bend this to the inside. He is getting held right on that left shoulder. It's tough to see from this angle. You can see it in broadcast when they show the other view, but definitely the 3rd one, the 2nd interception that he tried to throw the wheel to Hill, definitely on Tua. The first one, more of a miscommunication off your receiver's right hand. Wouldn't call that a dropped interception on the quarterback. This one, holding. The receiver's not able to get to the exact spot. We'll never know if this ball was maybe overthrown too far to the inside, but the receiver is supposed to be in that spot. Tua is throwing to a spot, and that receiver didn't get there, whether it was him running the wrong route or getting held. But I wouldn't really count that as another dropped interception against Tua. The fans that don't know any better, I've studied the game for quite a long time. That is a seam bender. You see middle of the field open, you got to bend that seam to the middle of the field, and he just doesn't get there. And plays like this are why the second half had so many drives where they just went 3 and out, because they would run the ball on the first down, maybe throw it on the second down, and then miscommunication. Him and Waddle just not on the same page here. Waddle's running the out and up. Tua is trying to throw the quick out, and just not on the same page. This is either, this is something that was getting all blamed on Tua. It was how they weren't scoring in the second half, when it was more of just a mixed bag of things. Some being on Tua, some being on the receivers, some being on the play calling, not even giving the quarterback an opportunity to throw the ball too much. And I think the rain definitely had a factor on some of his accuracy later in the game, because he definitely was underthrowing a couple balls, especially that deep ball to Tyreek later on. And then we get to 3rd and 8. The next play, after the 1st and 10 run that doesn't work, the 2nd and long miscommunication. Now you're in 3rd and long, cover 1. He takes his eyes off Waddle too early. What he sees here is the corner playing low outside leverage, and he knows Waddle's running the out. He should have had a little more faith, because Waddle ends up winning this and getting to the outside. I do understand why his eyes come off this, though. 3rd and 8, just based on the corner's positioning. Tries to come back to this. This route's dead. doesn't like what he has to the outside as well. He's also now getting pressured. He escapes. And then, Tua makes a dangerous decision, but something that, honestly, as a competitor, as someone who played, I do respect you trying to put your body on the line to get the first down. He gets very close, but he's just got to protect himself. Also, good job by Mostert realizing that your quarterback's running and getting your hands on trying to block as well. But biggest problem was maybe Tua came off that first read a little bit early, but I understand why he did just based on the cornerback's positioning. As we can see, so many of these drives that failed in the second half were either, okay, 3, 2, 1. So hopefully, as you guys can see, a lot of these drives that failed in the second half were not just all on Tua. It was the whole offense, from coaching to all the players just not executing a little bit. Definitely partial blame. Definitely has to go on Tua because he was not perfect. There was definitely mistakes that he made, but it was not all on him. I just don't see terrible play when I'm watching this game. I see a few bad mistakes. I mean, this is another one. Getting him off play action. This play action was definitely working. Didn't get to see him take too many deep 7-step drops like this. Almost work off like you're going to boot to the left and then stick that foot in the ground. Find Tyreek. Hits him perfectly. Definitely went away from this. You get man coverage again. This time, Tyreek Hill corrects his mistakes. They're facing man cover 2 this time, but he doesn't slow down when this is why you can't run man versus the Dolphins, because Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle can beat man 4 days. But you also struggle against zone because Tua's really good at attacking zone over the middle of the field. And then Tyreek doesn't slow his route down this time. Tua makes a good throw, hits him in stride. There were still plays being had like this. They just could not finish. Just too many mental mistakes once they started moving the balls after these big plays. And then after the play to Tyreek, you get a 1st and 10 run that only goes for 2 yards. And then you get a 2nd and 8 where Chase Edmonds drops another pass, which would have at least picked up 2 or 3 yards, possibly more if he made a man miss. And then you get cover 1 on 3rd and long. Tua reading Tyreek and Waddle to this side of the field. He just doesn't like this because he sees these 3 defenders all get coddled up here. He thinks this is a huge mess, so he just comes off of it and throws it to Gesicki. I understand why he made this read. I wish it was any offensive player other than Gesicki, because any other player probably could have got this first down. You make one guy miss. Gesicki just has no yards after catch ability. I mean, he made one guy miss, but he's just not that explosive in that area. He's more of a long strider type of guy. But if he did stay a little more patient here, if Tua let this develop a little bit longer, which he could have because he did have time, but I do understand why he made the decision just to get to his check down, just based on this clump right here. You get cover 1, and you get defenders running into them, and the defender is not there. You just check it down. So I understand the decision, but if he did stay patient, Waddle was coming open deeper down the field. So this was just a slightly bad decision by Tua. I do understand why he threw it to the flat, but overall, you keep putting your quarterback in 3rd and long situations, not giving him a chance, whether that be, running on 1st down. That just hadn't worked all second half. And then your 2nd down, you have a player in that has dropped pretty much every pass thrown his way. So you just keep putting your quarterback in these tough 3rd and long positions, and those are the only time he's really throwing the ball after his big plays. I just don't like that play calling at all. Every single drive in the second half, they would get one nice solid chunk play on, whether it be a slant, a dig, an over route, whatever you want to call it. They kept getting these nice plays. This time versus cover 1, you can't cover Tyreek Hill in man-to-man coverage. They would get this nice little slant play, the big play over the middle of the field. They would get at least, this one's only for 9 yards. The other ones were going for at least 15 every single time. They would get this in the second half. They would get it early, and then they would just stop throwing it over the middle of the field. They would stop calling those concepts. They would run the ball, and then 3rd and long, or, have a drop or something, and then try to throw it to the boundary. And I just don't understand that decision-making at all. Tua, good timing. Again, good accuracy. He's going to be great over the middle of the field, leading your receivers. If Tyreek make a miss here, with a block from Waddle, possibly anything could happen there. But just so many missed opportunities that I just don't understand why the Dolphins went away from attacking over the middle of the field. Because the first 3 drives, they had just attacked over the middle of the field until they went down and scored. And then, they would attack over the middle of the field once per drive and then just go away from it. This is the 3rd and 3 deep ball near the end of the game to Tyreek Hill. Could have possibly been defensive pass interference. I feel like every time I watch a deep ball from other teams when the ball is underthrown deep and the receiver tries to come back to it, they get defensive pass interference. I don't think that should be defensive pass interference. I actually think the safety played it as well as he could, but this gets called defensive pass interference a decent amount in this league. Tyreek Hill was open, so I don't mind the decision to throw it to him. I just think he should have probably thrown it to Gesicki over the middle of the field. He kind of came off this read too early. He thinks in this position he's not open, but Gesicki does get open on his break just enough, so I think he should have stayed a little more patient and just thrown it to Gesicki over the middle of the field. That should have been where he went with the ball. But Tyreek Hill was open. People will talk about Tua's arm strength here. It is very difficult to throw this ball, 50-plus yards down the field to the fastest player in the NFL and lead him. But not a good throw from him at all. This is where, you got to be unbiased. Not a good throw from Tua. I do think he's a deep ball accurate thrower, but this was not one of them. Could have been defensive pass interference, but it wasn't. And I just think the biggest problem with this play is I don't think you should be throwing it deep on 3rd and 3 when, you're towards the end of the game and all you really need is first down. But, I don't mind the aggressiveness at times. Just need a little bit better ball placement from Tua because he did have the chance to get it to Tyreek. Tua's last throw, the 4th dropped interception. They get him, working on play action. It's like 3rd and 3. I think the reason this ball looks so bad is because I believe right here, Tua is seeing Tyreek. He thinks Tyreek is going to bend this, take a more horizontal angle. But Tyreek Hill sees this and wants to go more vertical. And he's seeing Minkah come out to this tight end. So he wants Tyreek to come back towards this ball, just pick up the first down. And look, Tyreek starts angling upfield. This is why this ball looks so bad. Turns into the 4th interception. I still don't think this is a great decision from Tua. But I just also think this was a little bit of a miscommunication between him and Tyreek. It's also definitely raining at this point. So this ball is wet and Tua is just not good in these situations. And it ends up, turning into a possible interception because slight miscommunication and the ball might not have been the best ball placement anyways. And it also, I actually don't know if stats will count that as a dropped interception just because of how difficult of a catch it is for the DB. So you can count it as a dropped interception if you want to. Definitely not Tua's greatest throw, but I think the reason it looked so bad is because he expected Tyreek to flatten out his angle while Tyreek started to, go more vertical down the field. You can see Tyreek starts to move right as he throws it, and that's why it looked as bad as it was. So overall, that was every play. I showed most of Tua's passes, honestly, and for the most part, he looked pretty good other than 5-6 plays that I showed where that were his fault, his mistakes, and probably only 3 of those were truly all his fault, while the other ones were, blame could go around to him, to the receiver, play calling, whatever it may be. Just the game was not as bad as it was made out to be by Twitter. Once you watch the All-22, you see the actual film of what is happening, reading the defenses, everyone's job is supposed to be, and the opportunities. You got to read the context behind each play, the nuances of each play. It's just not all on Tua. This is a team game, and I'm not worried about him in the future. This was his first, game action since, playing against the Bengals a few weeks ago, so let him warm up, get back into it. Dolphins have a very winnable schedule. Not too worried about the whole season. So if you guys enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.